Driving essentials.
So far you've done a good job driving with normal traffic, but let's talk about some specialty vehicles you may encounter. So there are certain types of vehicles you'll want to pay special attention to, such as bicycles, motorcycles, emergency vehicles, and buses, each with their own set of behaviors. Bicycles and motorcycles are unique vehicles. Not only are they more vulnerable in a crash, but because of their smaller size, they can be difficult to spot. A bicycle or motorcycle can readily be hidden by another car. They also more easily fit into your blind spots. And even when you can see them, it may be difficult to determine their speed or predict their actions because they're capable of different maneuvers than other vehicles. There are specialty vehicles, such as buses and taxis, which make frequent stops and return to the road regularly. There are specific laws regarding some specialty vehicles, like with school buses, for instance. You are required to stop when its lights are flashing, and you cannot continue until the bus's stop sign is retracted and the lights are turned off. You may continue once the bus shuts off its lights, but still keep an eye out for children. Even if a bus is coming the other way, you're still required to stop until its lights stop flashing. Postal vehicles have a special purpose that requires them to make frequent stops and drive outside the flow of traffic. In addition, postal workers often have to exit their vehicle, so when approaching a postal vehicle, keep an eye out for the driver as well as the movement of the vehicle. Give them plenty of room by slowing down and moving over as far as possible. Always keep an ear out for sirens. You'll most likely hear an emergency vehicle long before you see it. There are specific laws regarding emergency vehicles. You're required to pull over as far as possible, even if the emergency vehicle is traveling in the opposite direction. If the emergency vehicle is coming up from behind you, don't panic. Simply find a safe place to pull over as quickly as possible, and keep in mind other vehicles will be trying to do the same thing. Trucks offer a special challenge. They're big, so they're easy to spot, but in turn, their size makes it difficult for them to see you. Trucks have blind spots, some of which are large enough to completely hide your vehicle from the driver's view. Take a look at the graphic. These blind spots are often referred to as no zones, because they're areas you want to avoid. There are times, of course, when you need to enter a no zone in order to pass. When you do, spend as little time there as possible. Try passing these trucks. Pass through the no zone quickly, but without speeding. Exit here. Especially in cities, you'll often find delivery trucks double parked. There are no special rules regarding delivery trucks, but be aware of pedestrians walking around them and check your mirrors before changing lanes. Alright, pull over here and shut down your vehicle. Pull over as soon as you can. Remember to follow the specific laws regarding emergency vehicles and school buses. For all other special vehicles, be aware of the way they move and the best way to act around them. Okay, so far we've had good weather, but it won't always be like that. Depending on where you live, you may experience a variety of weather and road conditions. Let's head out of this parking lot and I'll share some tips on what to do when you experience different weather conditions. Probably the most common weather you'll run into is rain. Everything from a light rain to a heavy downpour. Alright, so the first thing you want to do when it starts to rain is put on your wipers. But you'll also want to turn on your headlights for better visibility, even if it's still daylight. Like a lot of new cars, this one has daytime running lights and auto-sensing wipers, so they'll come on automatically. If your own car doesn't, you'll have to turn them on yourself as soon as you see it start to rain. Rain not only makes it harder to see, but also affects the traction of your tires. This means you won't be able to stop, right, or make turns as quickly. When it rains, slow down and give yourself a little space around your vehicle. Even after it stops raining, there's still water on the road, sometimes a lot, which means you can still hydroplane. Hydroplaning is when water gets under your tires and actually lifts your vehicle off the road. Your tires are no longer touching the ground, so you can't steer at all, which, trust me, is a bad thing. If you find yourself hydroplaning, don't panic and don't hit the brakes. Simply ease off the accelerator and keep your car pointed in a safe direction. As you start to slow, the car will return to the road surface and you'll regain control. The lesson is, if the road is wet, slow down. The faster you go, the more likely you'll hydroplane. Another common weather hazard is fog. Fog can severely limit your visibility, or when it's really foggy, can completely blind you. As soon as you see fog, turn on your headlights. This will not only help you see, but will also help others see you. Many cars come with fog lights, which you should also turn on. So what about your high beams? It seems like they would light up the road even more. But strangely enough, the opposite is true. High beams reflect off of the fog and actually make it more difficult to see. Another trick is to follow the white lines on the side of the road as well as the lights of the vehicle ahead to help guide you. Keep an eye out for brake lights, because sometimes drivers panic when they can't see and stop abruptly. Obviously, snow and ice are very slippery. You'll have to be careful when braking, but also when accelerating. Do either of those too fast and you can find yourself off the road. Slow down well before any corners. Better to hit the brakes while you're still traveling straight than when you're in a turn. If you do find yourself in a skid, keep the wheel pointed in the direction you want to go and stay off the accelerator. If you have ABS brakes, it's okay to use them, but if you don't, brake gently enough to avoid skidding. So anytime the temperature reaches near freezing, there's the potential for black ice. What makes it so dangerous is black ice is practically invisible as it takes on the color of the road surface. If you can't see it, you at least have to anticipate it. Black ice is more common on bridges, highway underpasses, or shaded areas. If the surface of the road was wet before the temperature dropped below freezing, then there's a good chance there's black ice. Cross here onto the dirt road. Like snow and rain, dirt and loose gravel can diminish the traction of your tires. This will make it more difficult to maintain control of your vehicle and will increase the chances that your vehicle could skid off the road. If your vehicle happens to have four-wheel drive, it will help, but it can't fully make up for the lack of traction. Because your tires don't have the same grip as they do on the pavement, it will take longer to stop. So you'll need to drive slower and avoid harsh braking or acceleration. You want to stay near the center of the road, as loose gravel tends to gather on the edges. If you're following another vehicle, stay back. On dirt roads, other vehicles will kick up dust that may impair your vision, or rocks that can damage your windshield. Continue practicing these techniques until you reach the end of the road. You can get more practice by selecting the off-road section of the free drive lesson. Stop here and shut down your car. As you can see, there's a wide range of weather and road conditions. What most of them have in common is reduced visibility and reduced traction. Your goal is to maintain control of your vehicle at all times by slowing down to an appropriate speed and avoid making any aggressive moves. Oh, hey, where are you going?